Hello, I'm all dressed up today because I was on a Zoom call with some cute library kids from Minnesota. So I figured, what the heck, I'll go ahead and record a video because I really like this outfit. And I wear it all the time now for so that I look nice from the waist up. Anyway, so here we are, we're going to record a video. And for the first time ever, I'm going to try and screen share. So bear with me, not tech savvy whatsoever, but getting right to it, I am Jessica Day George. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, and I like to recommend books. So welcome to my video. We have a special guest today down here on the floor. We have my sister's border collie, Sam, who is wondering when her person will return from a long voyage. Not for several days, poor Sam. Anyway, and what we're going to talk about today is my bedside table. I am reading The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. I am listening to the audiobook, and I am just now finishing chapter 31, The Far Snows. If you know, you know. But this is my bedside table. Oh, sorry. I'm also reading Lies and Weddings by Kevin Kwan. Delightful. Love his books. He wrote Crazy Rich Asians. Just adore him and his writing style. My bedside table looks like this at all times. What is not pictured is that on top of the magic words down there, it should also, you will see Lies and Weddings when I am in bed at night. You will notice that the books on my bedside table are stacked 3 deep. And for scale, we have a 10.5-inch doll of Princess Leia sitting there. On the top of the last stack is Walru, my beloved childhood walrus. And then you also see that the spill has now gone down to a basket on the floor, and that is to prevent me from being crushed in the night. So I'm going to stop sharing. No idea if that worked. We'll find out later. Good for us. Anyway, my bedside table is stacked 3 deep with my to-read pile. Now, those are just my immediate to reads. Actually, embarrassingly enough, the mini books you see behind me are partially unread. I mean, the books aren't partially unread. I would never do that. I'm not a monster. But a lot of these books here in my office, I also have not read yet, but I got them and wanted to read them and haven't gotten around to it yet. And the ones on my bedside table and the basket on the floor are the immediate to reads. So let's talk about my immediate to read books. Just real quick, gonna run through these. Obviously, I can't say anything about them because I haven't read them yet. Right, starting right off. J.R.R. Tolkien, The Fall of Numenor. My husband ordered this book when the Rings of Power series started, and we all got kind of into it. And that's when I ended up finally reading the Silmarillion and stuff in the last year. And we thought, why not try Fall of Numenor as well? I don't think that's a good place to put those. I'm gonna have to move that. The Paper Daughters of Chinatown by Heather Moore. A friend of mine and also my mom's book club read this book, and she insisted that I take it and read it next. And when I say read it next, I mean, I've probably had that book on my bedside table for a year. Jennifer Donnelly, absolutely adore her books. Revolution, purchased this from the library. Don't know how long ago. It's embarrassing, don't ask. A Tyranny of Petticoats, which is 15 stories of belles, bank robbers, and other badass girls, edited by Jessica Spotswood. I actually got this in a book crate so many years ago, and I mean, I'm gonna read it soon, I swear. Lisa Wingate's The Book of Lost Friends, another one from my mom's book club. When she gets done with them, she gives them to me and my sister. We're supposed to pass them along, but both of us have very large to-read piles. Alexander McCall Smith, To the Land of Long Lost Friends. I love his books. I love the #1 Ladies Detective Agency. I got this one, got it signed for Jessica and everything when he came to Salt Lake a year or so ago, but then I realized that I was a couple of books behind in the #1 Ladies Detective Agency, so I haven't picked that one up yet because I am getting the other ones and reading those first. The Secret Book of Floralia by Patty Callahan Henry is a book that I found at Costco when I went to Costco the other day, and it looked wonderful and delightful. The Faithless Hawk by Margaret Owen, recommended by my sister. This is her copy. She immediately gave to me. Yes, I know it's the second book. I have the first book here somewhere. I don't know. Surviving Life Mugged in Mexico, the memoir of Dustin Jackson. Dustin showed up on my doorstep the other day. He goes door to door selling copies of his book, and his story is strange and amazing. And I thought, I will give this man money and take his book and add it to my pile. I didn't tell him about the pile. The Magic Words by Cheryl B. Klein. I am in the process of reading. This is a fantastic book on writing books for children and teens that I just discovered a few months ago. It's just taking me a long time to read it because I really concentrate on each chapter. So I just sort of, when I can sit down, really look at a chapter, then I finally will read a chapter at a time. Neil Shusterman, Everlast, wonderful. Love Neil Shusterman's books. Signed to me, of course, when he came to town. That's one of the few of his I have not read yet. I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons by Peter S. Beagle. They just re-released this book, which I had never heard of, which with this gorgeous cover and end papers and all fun stuff. It looks delightful. The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Sarah Beth's a good friend of mine, and look at how beautiful this book is. And I am so jazzed to read this. And it's probably going to be on the top of my pile when I put things back. The Danish Secret of Happy Kids by Helen Russell. She wrote the wonderful The Year of Living Danishly, which I highly recommend. Just funny and fascinating look at moving to Denmark, supposedly for just 1 year, but they have been there a number of years now. And this, her book about basically raising tiny Vikings, just seemed like something that my family needs. Tristan Strong Keeps Punching by Kwame Mbalia. Loved the Tristan Strong books, obviously needed the third one. Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I absolutely love with every fiber of my being Station 11. And this is her latest book, and very excited about it. The True Deceiver by Tove Jansson. I love her books, as you know. I love the Moomin books. I love the summer book. This just popped up just the other day, was a Prime Day deal, and I'm like, well, I'd be stupid not to get it. Here's The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, who is a wonderful person as well as apparently a stellar writer. I have not read one of her books yet. My sister's like, take these, you must. Lois Lowry, The Willoughbys Return. I loved The Willoughbys, and when Lois Lowry was here just the other day in Salt Lake City, talking fabulously with Sarah Czar, signing books, obviously I had to get The Willoughbys Return, get it signed. Speaking of Sarah Czar, A Song Called Home. I love Sarah's books in addition to being thrilled that she is a friend of mine. I just think she's a phenomenal writer. That's her latest. Another dear friend who is a phenomenal writer, Marvin's Monster Diary Book 5, ADHD Self-Esteem Blues. Now, these are written by Dr. Ron Melmed, who is like a family therapist, child psychologist, but then that's for the tips and stuff. These books are so great, the Marvin's Monster Diary books. They're little short chapter books. They're fully illustrated, but my friend Caroline Bliss Larson actually writes sort of the monster story. And it's kind of like Monsters, Inc. And they're talking about stuff like ADHD and self-esteem issues and even OCD, and touching on some stuff and some tips that you can use in your family or as a child can use to like deal with some of these big emotions and issues. Wolf Stalker by Gloria Skrzynski and Elaine Ferguson, which is a mystery set in Yellowstone National Park, which I picked up the last time I was in Yellowstone National Park. And I do know both Gloria and Lainey, and I was so excited to see this. And the guy at the gift shop's like, oh my gosh, that's like one of our best sellers. It's been here and we can't keep it on the shelves. And I'm like, yay! So Pages & Co., The Treehouse Library by Anna James. We have been doing these as read-alouds in our family. We love the Pages & Co. series. So Battle Dragons, City of Speed by Alex London. I know this is like the third book even, I'm not even sure, but the first couple of books are in my youngest son's room and I need to read those first and then I get to read this one. He won't let me read ahead and he won't let me add the first two books to my piles. So Tad Williams, Into the Narrow Dark. As you know, hugest Tad Williams fan. Very excited about this one, but want to give it my full undivided attention. So it has been sitting there a little while. Wink, just brought to me by my sister as a little prize, which is stories that are sort of loosely based on classic children's stories. Kendara Blake, Leah Sipis, all sorts of great people. This just released this anthology. Rudy's Rules for Travel, which my sister gave to me, and then she's like, then we'll pass it on to mom for her book club. Mary Kay Jensen, it's a memoir about this woman and her husband, and it's apparently just delightful and would also be hilarious to us as we, our family, we have lots of Germans and people like that in it. Zadie Smith's On Beauty has been on my bedside table an embarrassing amount of time. I think during the pandemic lockdown, I borrowed it from my sister because I was working my way down some list of great novels you should read. So it's been on there a while. The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek, Kim Michelle Richardson, another one that my mom's book club passed down to me. You can always tell if my mom's book club's read it because my mom tabs things that she likes. It's really fun. I got to take a book that Mary's Monster took it to get it signed for her and showed off all the tabs in that book of poems that she had just loved. Sarah Boateng's Guide to Witchcraft and Mayhem by Roseanne Brown. Love this series. This is the second one. I'm very excited about that. Lois Lowry's new book, Tree Table Book, which just sounds absolutely delightful. Ursula K. Le Guin's The Wind's 12 Quarters is her short stories. This was actually tabbed by my sister before she gave it to me, of her favorite stories. Witchlings by Clarabelle Ortega, which will end up on my little cart full of witch books. When I am done, it's one of the rare witch books that I have not yet read, but I've heard it's highly recommended. Swordstone Table, which is Old Legends, New Voices, edited by Swapna Krishna and Jen Northington. Book of King Arthur stories, but all very different, very modern, lots of like diverse characters and things like that. Very excited about that. Darcy Little Badger, A Snake Falls to Earth. I had the pleasure of meeting Darcy recently and got this book signed and was so excited because I just finished Alatsaway and absolutely loved it. The Triumphant Tale of Pippa North by Tamara Belts. I had read her first book in this series, which, my gosh, of course, The Tragical Tale of Birdie Bloom, which was absolutely delightful. And they sent me, because I gave it such a rave review, they sent me an advance copy of the next one, which I'm very excited to read, but it's out and I still haven't read the advance copy. Eva Evergreen and The Cursed Witch by Julie Abbey, the sequel to the first Eva Evergreen book that I just talked about in my last video. Again, a witch book from my witch books vibe, love it. The King Must Die by Mary Renault. I read a ton of her books when I was a teenager, and but not that one. And now I've had two different people, one a writer and one an editor, tell me I need to read it. The editor was like, for the book you're working on now, you've got to read it. Joan Aiken's The Cereal Garden. I love Joan Aiken. I love Wolves of Willoughby Chase, Arabelle's Raven, all those, and just found out about her Armitage family stories, and they've just been collected into this one volume. Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books by Kirsten Miller. I just love her. I love her books, and just won this advance copy off of Goodreads the other day. The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, a book I have always meant to read and was looking for Halloween costume parts in the fall at a like Goodwill type of store and discovered this looking like absolute new for 50 cents. I'd be stupid not to buy it. This just came out, Dune, the graphic novel, book 3, The Prophet. If you love Dune, which I do, if you have not seen the graphic novels, fantastic. They've broken the story up into more accessible parts so they could be illustrated, and I'm loving it. Fate Be Changed, A Twisted Tale. Sorry about the bad accent. Farah Roshan. I love the Twisted Tale books that Disney is doing with their princesses encountering different things, and Merida is obviously my favorite princess. That Holly Black's The Prisoner's Throne. Love this series so much by Holly Black. The Elfhame books are so fantastic. I'm very excited to read this one, even though it's been out for a while and it's been on my bedside table. I swear I'm still excited to read it. So that's it. That's my bedside table. Those are all the books you can't see, but I'm basically now surrounded by this huge wall. But those are the books that are on my immediate to read list. So, very excited to get into those. Hopefully the screen sharing and stuff like that worked, and hopefully you saw some favorites of your own, or some things that you've been thinking like, should I read that? I'll probably give you an update eventually. Thanks.